Folks, once again, thank you for clicking on my mug. And before we get started, I want to thank the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by Raycon. I did pinky up for a second. We're getting classy here. The Raycon earbuds are those slick, stylish, true wireless earbuds that do remain, as I always say, my workout earbuds. The reason's very simple. They're slick, discreet, no dangling wires or stems. They have yet to fall out of my head, no matter how you slice it. That ain't bad. As always, Raycon earbuds offer 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit. They also come in a variety of fun colors. Don't be limited. Get your fine aesthetic on. And they have a 45-day free return policy. I always appreciate the fact that you can buy with confidence. So click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/Johns to get yourself 15% off your Raycon purchase. And thank you once again to Raycon for sponsoring this video. I do appreciate it. All right, now Guy Richie and Jason Statham return. That should have been the title of this movie. Wrath of Man. So Wrath of Man's directed by Guy Richie. Jason Statham stars in it. So yeah, that's the return of Guy Richie directing with Jason Statham starring. Jason Statham's character is new to the job of armored truck driver. And then people try to rob armored trucks because they're loaded with money. And Jason Statham's them. Yeah, you know how it's gonna go down. It's a movie called Wrath of Man starring Jason Statham. It doesn't take much to deduce the fact that the guy is probably not reading The Great Gatsby in front of a fireplace or anything. You know people are gonna die, and they do. But there are certain expectations with a movie that's directed by Guy Richie that stars Jason Statham. You know, you might be looking for that Snatch flavor. I'm out. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the vibe. In terms of its execution, that's where you can see like, oh yeah, Guy Ritchie's fingerprints in here. Because instead of being linear, it does things where it's like, oh, you see a little bit of something and then in that Pulp Fiction-esque kind of way, it goes back and you see a little bit of the backstory and you see the same situation but another angle and you see, you know, it's that execution that makes it feel fresh. Not in that Rotten Tomatoes kind of way, you know, fresh versus rotten. You know, charges it, makes it feel a bit unique. It being Jason Statham starring, it is the Jason Statham show. Yeah, absolutely. Does the guy know he's being filmed? I don't know. But I do love the fact that he can kill somebody in his Jason Statham manner kind of way and be like, eat your own dick. It's a megalodon. Statham's good at what he does. And funny, I think back to the movie Snatch, he was Turkish in that movie. He wasn't the badass he is now. But that's where you can't go into this movie with those expectations of it feeling like an early Guy Ritchie movie, even though Jason Statham's in it. It's kind of like, you know, when a musical artist or group, they come out with that album, you know, it's been 10 or 20 years, like, hey, here's the new album. And people might expect it to feel exactly like the old album, like their debut album, and it doesn't. But in its own right, it's still good music. That's what this is like. But it's also where it runs into a bit of identity crisis also, because you have these Guy Ritchie quips happening, especially in the setup of this movie. And I was like, why does it feel weird? It feels weird because the tone, the overall tone of the entire movie isn't really that. So it felt a little conflicting for me. The movie's dark, man. This is some dark shit. Even the musical score sounds like the musical score to Joker, which is great. Like, I love the musical score to Joker. I have that soundtrack. Vinyl? Yeah. Flex? It's a little bit. But I like it. I think it sounds great. What can I say? And it works for watching a person just circle the drain to madness. Kick-ass Jason Statham movie where he has to dispatch some folks who are trying to rob armored cars with that Guy Ritchie tone. It's just, you know, it feels a little conflicting for me. He's just more mature, almost jaded, much darker Guy Ritchie. Then again, you look at Snatch. There was a mobster who would cut people up and feed them to pigs. But still, the tone was lighter. The quips were that of fun, you know? We were here for a good time. It had that energy. Yeah, I'll take some lighthearted things like Bricktop. I was wondering at a point why this movie felt long. Like, the movie feels long. It's not long. It's 2 hours long, which, I mean, it's not... That's an average movie, 2 hours. And I think it's because the way the movie's told, where you have to go back and you had your setup, then at a point you go back and you see some other setup, so you're like, I'm watching the first act of the movie twice, but 2 different first acts. And I think that does something in terms of the audience processing the movie. At least for me, it just made the movie feel longer because I was watching a first act twice. It almost feels like a GTA movie. Actually, that's a really good way to describe Wrath of Man. It's a GTA movie comprised of a few GTA missions that make one movie. That said, I had a good time with it. I'm keeping it vague because the execution and the slow trickle of reveals, that's the fun of the movie, absolutely. The stakes are high, or at the very least personal, and it's a movie of no heroes. Just, you may have a protagonist, but that's very loosely. I thought Jason Statham, once again, was great in this character that he is very known for playing. But there's a complexity to this Jason Statham-esque character. There's a damage here that I really liked. I thought The Gentleman was more in line to what people think, like at least myself, what I think when I think Guy Richie movie. But I thought in the end, Wrath of Man, I thought it was a really cool movie. Solid time, no alcohol required. All right, so Wrath of Man, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Or what's your favorite recent Guy Richie movie? Whatever you think, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to say more.